And then I volunteered at a youth center that I used to go to. And they had advertised a job for a youth worker. And I had gone in to ask for an application form. And the guy who was the employment worker there, with a group of about 10 people, embarrassed me. He had betted me a fiver in front of all these people that you're not going to get the job. And I thought, what am I, man? I have no value, And it made me feel like crap. That the guy is betting people in front of me that that I'm not going to get the job, and they were laughing in my face. And I thought, oh my days. And I think it just worked mysteriously in a way that 52 people had applied for that position, and the only guy that had given the application form back was me. And because they were a small charity organization, they couldn't afford to re-advertise. So what they said, we'll put you on a lower salary, but we'll give you the job. And that was my breaking point, and that was a stepping stone I needed. And for about 5-6 years, I worked on a really crap wage, man. But I wasn't really bothered because I had got a job.
Steve Jobs from Apple, he got sacked, went back to set up DreamWorks, came back. He sacked the people that sacked him. So in some respects, what do they know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So you had that start, got involved in youth work. Keep unpacking that kind of story about.
Yeah, but because I had left school really, really early, and then doing the job, I realized that okay, this is the first time I've done, because I've done 6 months here, 6 months there. This is the first time I kind of enjoy this, man. Probably this is for me. I was getting on with people. I was doing a lot of things with young people, doing that. The fun things. I was really young, so I was doing, the generic things that you do in a youth center, these residentials, these kind of things. I was doing them, so I was relatively young myself, so I was enjoying it. But after a few years, I realized that I'm kind of going nowhere. Probably one of the reasons is because I don't have an educational background. So I'd enrolled to university, whereas previously there was a lot of frustrations through the way, because previously the organization and the company had paid for people to do the course and given them a day off, paid leave as well. In my case, it wasn't any of them, so I had to pay for the course myself. I had to take a day off from work, so I'd lost a day's worth of income and paying for the course myself. But I had done it. I just wanted to do it, and I thought I wanted some education behind me, and I wanted to understand the work that I was doing, because there was no theory behind some of the work that we were doing, although we were getting results and people were doing good things. But really and truly, the end purpose wasn't really getting me anywhere personally. So I thought, all right, I'll get back in. So I got back into education, met more like-minded youth workers who work in different environments and different settings, because I had predominantly worked with Bangladeshi and Pakistani kids, because Lazals is predominantly a Bangladeshi and Pakistani neighborhood. So the majority of the people that were coming from them backgrounds. So I wanted to challenge myself a bit and understand the work that I was doing a bit more. So that kind of led to my work with Newman University, and I'd still stayed in contact from there. But I had looked at the organization and I thought, these guys are really one-dimensional in terms of they're doing great work, but they're not thinking of 10 years or 5 years down the line, because they had really been sole reliant on grant funding, and that's it. So if the money stops, the work stops.
So let's go there then. Let's fast forward 10, 15 years to now.
Yeah.
Where are you at now?
So I'm in a position where I started an organization as a founder organization in 2008, based on the model that, if we looked at a young person, a lot of the times the school didn't know what was happening at home. Home didn't know what's happening at school, and there was also no relationship with what was happening in their social life. So I thought, overcrowded homes was an issue, and schools didn't realize that when kids came to school with no new school uniform, or they never had no space to study or do homework, or they were really struggling at home because their family was on benefits, school didn't really care. There was and they couldn't afford extra academic studies like some of the families that had both parents working, or families had a business. They couldn't afford these kind of things. So we thought, okay, let's try and match all of these together. Let's try and get a communication between the school and the home and the outside life, and try and get a balance. And we started the organization through that. And we just started off with...
What's the name of the organization?
Aspire and Succeed. So when we started first, we had just done academic tuition. We found teachers that were locally based who could volunteer their time, qualified teachers, help people on just English, maths and science. And then we realized that the neighborhood offices were slowly closing and people had issues because of language barriers with welfare and benefits. They didn't know what they were entitled to. They didn't know what kind of benefits they can get. And so we started the benefits advice surgery. I realized that, when you could claim £1,500 back for a family, it was quite good because they could do things. They could spend a bit of extra income on their children. They could buy a new school uniform. And we were seeing these kind of rewards. But it didn't pay enough as well. So I didn't want to be a broke youth worker. That's the truth, So and youth work, if you look for a youth work job, there's none out there.
Oh, can I ask you a question on that? Because I'm always curious about this. What do you think the difference is between youth work and working with youth? What do you from your point of view? Because it sounds like you're working with youth.
Yeah.
But youth work came out of that 50s. Parents, people came back from the war and they set up these services. So, if you was talking to a youth work conference right now, what are the 2 or 3 things that you'd be saying to newly qualified youth workers now?
It's a good point you make, because when I studied the youth work course, I didn't agree with a lot of the things that they were saying. Because a lot of the research that was based on youth work was, like you said, from the 40s and 50s. I don't think they interviewed any Asian kids or any Asian families or any black families or nothing like that. So it's based on a group of people, and still to this day, a lot of the research is based on a group of people from decades ago with no relevance to the neighborhoods that we come from. I don't think it kind of changed my mind a lot.
So imagine right now in the studio we've got like the youth representative of UKIP or the EDL sitting right here, and they're going to set up a youth wing to engage the community. What are the 2 or 3 things that you'd want to be saying to those people? Because there's a lot of people who's listening who are in the same situation, that they are engaging with diverse communities but without the tools to engage with diverse communities. So what would 2 or 3 things that you'd say that those people need to do?
I think I would tell them that it's not really and truly result orientated. So it's not always about that ticking them boxes, and that they have to be in education and they have to be in employment at the right time. And I think with a lot of the work that I've done, a lot of the times it's just being there, just to speak to someone, and people forget these fundamental basics, that where the young people is at that moment, and they just think it's very result orientated. Let's go by what the books say with young people, and that's it. Because when I was growing up, I had the same problem, going to the youth clubs and all that, and this kind of way of youth work, and people's perception of youth work is a youth centre with a pool table and a table tennis, and that's it. But they forget about the conversations. So I think that it's them kind of finer details that why I personally really, really concentrate on. It's not about the results. And I think a lot of the times the biggest thing that I've done for someone is not get them a job or not kind of get them into university, but just have a conversation about what's happening at home, or have a conversation of what it feels like when their uncle or father has gone into prison.
How do you feel, though, in 2017, knowing that the social structure in the community, it's been eradicated, derelict buildings, the bus services are policed a lot, surveillance? What I'm saying is, how important is to get the community right to be able for you to operate the way that you'd like to do that?
Yeah, I think we are, the truth is we are in a police state. Everything is, and when you see, and a lot of people, when they come to me and they say, so we work with the group of Somali young people who are based in Villa Cross, and they're very loud, they're doing this outside the church, and they're very intimidating. And it's always, and I always say to them, what were you doing at that age? Because sometimes I have to step back and I realize, and I look at a group and I think, bloody hell, that's a group, they're chilling in a street corner. I think to myself, I did the same thing when I was that age. And when you have that conversation with them, so this group, there's about 30 young people, and we had a conversation, and it was easy because the police had come to us and said, we can't engage with this group of young people, and we spoke to a few other community organizations that can't do it. We had just talked to them, and when we started our conversation, only we started talking to them about the neighborhood. About there used to be a Woolworths here, you know. This Villa Cross has got some history, you know, these kind of things. This is the first time they go, someone's ever talked to us about something. So they go, the church has got a problem with us, but they never ever talk to us about what the issue is. It's always they straight away report us to the police, but they never ever have a conversation with us.
So in a way, that whereas some people are looking at the risk, whereas you're looking at creating a sense of belonging and inclusion.
Definitely, you know, and I think people should understand where they are, you know. So I think it was important for them young people to understand the neighborhood and the context of the neighborhood where they are. But it's important for the other organizations and the people that live there that understand how these people operate. So the Somalian African community and their culture is very loud. They congregate in large groups. People have to understand that. But they also have to understand that you can't just take up the whole road and expect a mum with a pram just to cross the road. It's simple things like that.
So finally, one final point. It'd be good. Birmingham or the West Midlands is going to have an elected mayor at some stage who's going to take over a lot of responsibility for administration within the region. What's the one thing that you'd like to say to the people in power right now to enable you to continue on the successful journey that you've got?
I just think, you know what, don't forget us. You know, and that's, I think, really, really important, because while the voting campaign is going on and there's a lot of campaigns that are going on in these neighborhoods, you know, it's great they're making these points that these things they want to do. But a lot of the times and historically, they've forgotten us. Newtown swimming bath, man, look at the state of it. You know, where can our kids and our mums and sisters go? You know, have you seen the state of that kind of place? People forget us.
Well, you know something? I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really had a great time. And awesome. You've actually added something to the end of the show. You'll find out this minute. Because normally what I do is I end with what we call the 5 R's.
Yeah.
You've just added a 6th. So I just want to say to the audience here, everybody knows that the Roadman's Guide, it's about the community for the community. And I always have this thing called the 5 R's. Read, write, research, recharge, and rest. But Shahal's reminded us of another thing, which is remember. So you've added it 6, so you've just destroyed the ending. And I want to say to everybody out there, until the next time we have the Roadman's Guide, I just want to say to everybody, stay safe, walk good, and bring light into the darkness. So this is Doc Martin signing off from the Roadman's Guide. All right, peace.